Okay, well, good morning. Thanks to everybody for coming here today to join us here at the Center for Socialist Education in the heart of Vancouver, unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, the Musqueam, the Squamish, the Tsleil-Waututh. We thank them for allowing us to engage in our activities in their beautiful lands. We are here today on a special occasion for the launch of a calendar for the year 2017, published by Radical Desi magazine and other sponsors, including People's Voice, which I helped to edit. 2017 is a special year for many reasons. For some people in Canada, this is the 150th anniversary of the Confederation of Canada, the beginning of Canada as a country. But this is also, the 150th anniversary of the formalization of the colonization of Canada, the theft of these lands from the Indigenous peoples. So for progressive people who are concerned about social justice, the values of fairness and equality and human rights, that's not such a happy anniversary. But it's also the 100th anniversary of the October Socialist Revolution in Russia. And that is what the theme of the Radical Desi calendar for 2017 is about. This was a revolution which shattered the old conceptions of the eternal domination of the ruling class and the rich. It opened the door to a world in which working people could take control of their own destiny for the first time in history. Not necessarily that they were going to do everything perfectly. Many mistakes are made in the course of building a new society, building a new way of life, but more than anything, it showed that working people could actually accomplish this. The ruling classes in our society, they need the workers. They cannot have a society without workers doing all their labor, producing their profits, cleaning their homes, building their fancy homes, doing everything that they need. They need us very badly. But as the October Revolution showed, we don't need them. We can build a society without bosses, without owners, without big corporations. We can decide ourselves how we want to live. And that was the main message of the October Socialist Revolution, and that is why it is celebrated every year around the world, and next year will be celebrated in every country, because it's the centennial of the most important political event of the 20th century. The event that really changed the course of human history. Every movement for social change over the last 100 years was profoundly influenced by that revolution. The struggle of the working class for emancipation from wage labor and from exploitation. The struggle of women for social equality for the first time in the history of societies. The struggle of oppressed peoples for liberation from their colonial masters. All of these struggles received an enormous impetus, including here in Canada, from the October Revolution. So we are very happy to take part in publishing a calendar which celebrates this momentous event. We will help to celebrate this anniversary in various ways throughout the year, and we are very happy to be associated with this calendar that has many important dates for us to mark throughout this important year. And so with that, I'm going to ask Comrade Peter Marcus to read a poem about the October Revolution, and then Gurpreet will introduce some other speakers. So again, thank you all for being here today.
Thank you. This is called The Fall of October. The Fall of October, a revolutionary change of color in a breath of fresh air. Leaving the past, left with Lenin, storming the Winter Palace for a piece of land and bread, hammer and sickle, a red star to replace a tsar, and business as usual, to labor under no overlord in many fields, a struggle in learning, a healthy response to industrial activity for a new world without colonial exploits. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimball, and thank you, our comrade I'm forgetting his name. Comrade Peter. It's really an honor to be here, and I am pleased that Kimball provided us such wonderful space for the launching of the calendar. We have been doing it for the last 10 years now. The first one we did was in 2007 to mark the 100 years of Bhagat Singh's birthday, and ever since we have been doing it every year to mark the important dates of radical history. And Bolshevik Revolution is also an important event for us. I'm talking about South Asians, because he not only changed the course of the world history, his revolution also impacted the Ghadar movement and liberation movement in India. So we are indebted to Lenin. Secondly, the reason why we did this today is also important, because today marks the 100 years of the martyrdom of Babu Harnam Singh Sari, who was the one of the founders of Swadesh Sevak, and he also contributed his cartoons to the Ghadar newspaper. So he was hanged today in 1916 in Burma, where he was sent by the Ghadar party to launch a revolution. And he was an important character in our community. He was active in Vancouver. So I'm really pleased that we are doing it today. Today also happens to be the birth anniversary of Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism. He also preached to have a social equality. He also stood for the rights of the women and the oppressed classes. So it's a very auspicious occasion. And we also have among us Mr. Anand Teltumde, a visiting scholar and activist from India, who has been here with us for the last few days. So he is here fortunately, and we want him to basically come to the dais and unveil the calendar. So I welcome Mr. Teltumde, and afterwards I would like Mr. Raghbir Singh Sirna to say a few words, because he is an authority on the Ghadar history. And we also have Mr. Sadhu Binning, who would also like to say a few words. Please, Mr. Anand Teltumde, let's begin with you.
Comrades, I am too happy to be here at this happy occasion. Never imagined that at distant land we could have such an event really, but I am thankful to Gurpreet for having hurriedly arranged this kind of thing and enabled me to mark my presence. Communist revolution is slandered by capitalist world. Today we are living in neoliberal era. But they do not realize that it has changed the course of history, as the comrade really said. I will give a little different perspective to the entire communist revolution. These people say that it's a triumph of capitalism and all, but it is business management in India. It might sound very funny, but in my classes I remind people like what has been the contribution of Russian Revolution. Not many people understand that whatever developments have been here in technology and management science, they are attributed to an event which is marked by Sputnik. We do know, but that is what it is. Many people think that this was a disaster, and these days, youngsters do not understand the significance of Bolshevik Revolution. But Sputnik was an event which actually shocked the capitalist establishment world over, the Americans particularly. Until then, entire economics or anything, every scientific subject used to be descriptively taught. The mathematics also was not in offering. And Sputnik really shocked them, that whatever that was going on in Russia, that they never understood. They never understood ABC of the space science. And none other than the President of America that time actually called a big meeting of all the technology establishments, institutions, etc., and given them an ultimatum that entire course of academia in US actually changed, and they adopted a quantitative kind of thing, and there was a totally different direction to the entire research activity in America. So this is not understood these days. You remember 1913 to 1963, just 50 years, Russian economy, which actually came from a very backward agrarian economy, grew by 50 times over. During the same period of 50 years, America just scored 6 times the economic growth. So these are the kinds of things. There are lots of things that could be said in terms of statistics, etc. Unfortunately, the revolutions, as it was envisaged, did not happen in Germany. The what Lenin termed as the core of something like Europe, Britain, and even in China. Initially these revolutions did not take place at date, and Russian revolution remained as an isolated one and could not continue for various reasons. There may be myriad reasons for that, but it's a significant event actually which gave the entirely new direction to the world history. That stands, and we need to remember we might have to learn a lot from whatever that has happened and caused the debacle of Russian Revolution. But all the same, this remains as a day to remember. I'm happy Gurpreet with his Radical Desi really has taken up such kind of ventures to mark out radical events in history and commemorate them. I'm too really I'm thankful to him for carrying on the revolutionary legacy. Not many people are amongst us in India also. We try to do the similar kinds of things, but really I am happy to be here. Thank you.
So you can just pull one of those ribbons to mark the launch.
These ribbons?
Yeah, any one of these.
Okay.
Maybe Hassan can help us.
Yeah, you can please come.
Kimber, please come. Yeah.
Yeah, come, comrade. I am. Yeah. So we could just. I think yeah. Put the
You can also pull one copy one by one. You can just hold them in your hands and you can take some pictures.
Yeah. Hold it.
Yes.
So we can have a picture.
Can you guys come close? I also want to take a moment to thank my friend Kamaljeet Singh Thin, who has been a big help and support in promoting this noble cause since day one. He is also, we also are indebted to Kamaljeet Singh Thin for keeping the legacy of Jallianwala Bagh massacre alive, which is very, very important. So he has also launched a petition asking for a formal apology from the British Parliament for that massacre. And I think he deserves a big round of applause for doing this. So a couple of acknowledgements. I want to thank Mr. Surinder Ranga for being here. He's from Chetna Association. He came all the way to attend this event. Thank you, Sundarji. Purushottam Dosanjh, he is a big support of Radical Desi. He has always been a big support. Thank you, Purushottam Bhaji. Imtiaz Popat is always there. He was there at the rally yesterday, which we organized against state repression, and he was in the forefront of the rally that was organized against Mr. Modi when he was here, and he also organized 2 rallies against Donald Trump outside Trump Tower. So we are very pleased to have him around.
Friends, I'm hesitant to speak in English. I cannot express myself properly in this language. My whole life I have been speaking in Punjabi, so it is very difficult for me to refuse Gurpreet. So excuse me for saying few words in Punjabi. ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਅੱਜ ਕੈਲੰਡਰ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਰੈਡੀਕਲ ਦੇਸੀ ਮਹਿਕ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਅਤੇ ਪੀਪਲਜ਼ ਵਾਇਸ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੀ ਆ 2017 ਅਗਲਾ ਵਰ੍ਹਾ ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਦੀ 100ਵੀਂ ਵਰ੍ਹੇਗੰਢ ਦਾ ਵਰ੍ਹਾ। ਨਿਸ਼ਚੇ ਹੀ ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਰੋਲ ਅਦਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਇਸ ਸਦੀ 'ਚ 20ਵੀਂ ਸਦੀ 'ਚ। ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਮੁਕਤੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਲਹਿਰਾਂ ਚੱਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਹੋਇਆ, ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਉਸ ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਨੇ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੈ। ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਬੜਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਹੈ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਉਹ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਨਾਕਾਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਪਰ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਾਕਾਮੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਵਜੂਦ ਉਹਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਹੱਤਤਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਵੀ ਘਟਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬੁਲਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਉਸ ਜਨਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਸ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਸਪੀਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਹੈ। ਅਤੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਹਵਾ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਇਕੁਐਲਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਸੀ, ਕੌਮੀ ਮੁਕਤੀ ਦੇ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਸੀ। ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਰਪਿਤ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਵਰ੍ਹਾ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਤੇ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁਣੇ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਸਮ ਦਾ ਉਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਮਿਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਵੇਂ ਵਰ੍ਹੇ 'ਚ ਇਸ ਕੈਲੰਡਰ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਉਸ ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਦੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲੇ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੰਘਰਸ਼ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ 'ਚ ਉਨੀ ਹੋਈ ਮਹੱਤਤਾ ਹੈ। ਬੜਾ ਕੁਛ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਵੀ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਾਪਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਸੰਗਿਕਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਲਿਆਉਂਦਾ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਤੋ ਆਈ ਐਮ ਸੌਰੀ ਆਈ ਕੈਨਟ ਐਕਸਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਮਾਈ ਸੈਲਫ ਇਨ English, so I take leave from you just saying these few words in Punjabi. Thanks.
I'm thankful to Dr. Raghbir Singh ji that he spared a moment to say a few words. Briefly, he actually was trying to convey that it's not just that we should remember the dates, important dates in the history of, radical history of the world. What is important is to carry forward that struggle, to keep the legacy alive in the present context. Even today, Palestinian territories and lands are under occupation, indigenous lands are under occupation, Kashmir is under occupation. So all these struggles are important. By just paying tokenistic tributes to our heroes is not sufficient. So it's important to carry forward the struggle and continue our struggle. And that's why we have brought out this calendar, not just to mark the occasion and do celebrations and exchange greetings and that's it. That's not our purpose. So now I would request Sadhu Bining ji to come on the dais and say a few words.
ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਅਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਹੋਣਾ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਅੱਜ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ ਸੱਦਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਗੱਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਗਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਦਾ 2017 ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੈਲੰਡਰ ਤਿਆਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਇਹ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਬਾਕੀ ਬੁਲਾਰੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ 1917 ਦਾ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਸੀ, ਅਕਤੂਬਰ ਇਨਕਲਾਬ ਰਸ਼ੀਆ ਦਾ, ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਤੇ ਅਸਰ ਪਾਇਆ ਇਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਉਹਦਾ ਅਸਰ ਉਸੇ ਕਿਸਮ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਉਦੋਂ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਆ, ਸਮਾਂ ਕਿ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਭਿਆਨਕ ਰੂਪ ਧਾਰ ਰਹੀ ਆ। ਉਦੋਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀ, ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਛਾਈ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਸੱਚਮੁੱਚ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮਾਰਕਸ ਦਾ ਸੁਨੇਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਸਟ ਪਾਰਟੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਸੁਨੇਹਾ ਇਹ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਣ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਆ, ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਲੋੜ ਸਮਾਂ ਕਿ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਆ, ਜਿਹਦੀ ਸੱਚਮੁੱਚ ਇਹ ਲੋੜ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੂੰਜੀਵਾਦੀ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ, ਵਿਸ਼ਵ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਛਾਇਓ ਆ, ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਜ਼ਦੂਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਣ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਹੋਣਾ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਦਿਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਭਾਈਚਾਰੇ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਮਹੱਤਤਾ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਆ, ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜਾਂ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਇੰਡੋ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ। ਹਰਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਾਂਸੀ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਗਈ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਦਿਨ, ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੀ ਬੜੀ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ 100 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ 1910 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਦੇਸ਼ ਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਰਚਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦਾ ਪਰਚਾ ਸੀ। ਸੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਬੜੀ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਘਟਨਾ ਸੀ, ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਸੀਗੀ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੋਈ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਨਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ, ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਹੁਣਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਰੈਡੀਕਲ ਦੇਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਹਿਯੋਗੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੈਲੰਡਰ ਇਹ ਤਿਆਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਾ ਸਾਲ, ਅਗਲਾ ਸਾਲ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ, ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਰਹੂਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਲ ਆ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਜੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਦਮ ਉਠਾਇਆ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। ਸ਼ੁਕਰੀਆ।
साधु जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। So in the end we will be hearing from Comrade Hassan. He was the one who decorated everything here when you came in. He did all the good work and we did the dirty work by pulling away everything. So he is going to talk about the relevance of Bolshevik Revolution in the present world. He will give us a broader idea of what the way it should actually be celebrated. Hassan.
Thank you for Gurpreet and the Desi magazine, and thank you for Center for Socialist Education organize this event. And I just give a few words. I am coming from Iran and how the October Revolution effective to Middle East and the Iranian or after the Ottoman Empire and war zone. The colonial system broken and that effective in that area. But the big icon we see today still is effective our life. The communist idea bring that star as a hope for justice, for the better future for human life. And they bring the hammer and stick, and as a united between the people, they fight together against any type of the exploitation system, make the human being under the suppress, under the pressure. They are dreaming, they had a better life, freedom, anything as a democratic relationship. The Bolshevik Revolution shows how much important leadership of the working class. If they organize in the party, Bolshevik party, they can make the society change, really deep, fundamental change, and make the equal system for all of the people, all of the nation. And that crisis today we are living and we are facing still exists, and we have to take that message, carry that message, and for next generation by generation until the human be free from the exploitation and free from any type of the discrimination systematically. Thank you for Gurpreet. Thank you for all of the comrades.